Welcome to another segment of High School Spotlight. As always, I'm Jacob Aranda here with my co-host Cristian Pacheco.
We caught a good quarterfinal game in Clovis last Friday night and a terrific 8-man state championship game in Melrose last Saturday.
We had a big game going on at Leon Williams Stadium as the 5th-ranked Mayfield Trojans tried to knock off the 4th-seeded Clovis Wildcats out of championship contention. Mayfield kicks things off here as we see Tori Laughlin get the big 30-yard run touchdown to get the Trojans on the board first with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Mayfield's next possession, Isaac Vance speeds through Clovis defenders to get Mayfield's second score of the night, 14-0 Trojans with 5:50 left in the first quarter.
The junior running back made a huge impact as he kept Clovis defenders on their toes all night.
Second quarter action now, as Clovis now has a chance to get on the scoreboard. As the field goal is up and good. Mayfield 14, Clovis 3, with 8:23 left to play in the second quarter. The Wildcats have a pretty rough time getting anything going last Friday night, and this is a great example on why, as senior defensive end Abraham Ordonez gets the sack on Dalton Hatley. Moving into the fourth quarter, the sophomore Tori Laughlin keeps the ball for an easy 6-yard touchdown for the Trojans. Mayfield kept Clovis touchdownless as they get the win with a score of 21-3.
Now we head to Melrose, New Mexico for the 8-man state championship game as the Melrose Buffs hosted the Gateway Christian Warriors. Gateway gets the championship game off to a fast start as sophomore quarterback throws a deep pass to James Longmire for the touchdown. The Warriors put a quick 8 on the board.
James Longmire was a big threat in the receiving and rushing game as he was tough to defend for Melrose.
First offensive possession for the Buffs didn't go as planned. Here's the punt, but it is blocked. Recovered by Longmire, who takes it into the end zone. 14-zip, Warriors still in the first. After a few possessions, the Buffs have the ball, and Rowdy Allen takes the handoff, makes a quick spin, and into the end zone he goes. Buffs are on the scoreboard.
The Buffs got their first points of the game in the second quarter, as it was very unusual for them to start the game that slow.
Third quarter action now. Buffs have it, and the touchdown pass to Cade Bernard is good for about 30 yards, 22-14 Melrose. Next possession now for the Warriors. They hand off to Longmire, and he just does the rest, running about 50 yards, answering the Buffs' last score.
That play was the senior James Longmire's third touchdown of the game, showing why he was such a big threat on the game Saturday, Christian.
This was a controversial play here as the tight end Jared Lee for Melrose catches the pass, gets taken down, but the ball comes out after his knee is down, but the officials ruled it a fumble as the Warriors recover.
This play should have been called back, as it changed the momentum of the game in favor of the Warriors.
Next play after the controversial call, and it's a score for Gateway as Reynolds tosses the 25-yard pass to tight end Schultz. The Warriors take the lead in the third quarter, 28-22, with 2:41 left on the clock. But don't count out the Buffs just yet, as Cade Bernard shows some tremendous effort here, hurdling the defender to gain extra yardage. For what? Bernard throws to Braden Heminger, and he goes up for the catch. Touchdown, and the Buffs take the lead with 1:09 left to go in the game.
Melrose never gave up, even when trailing. They gave it their all, and their outcome was special.
Gateway has one more chance to try to win. The pass is thrown, but it is intercepted by the senior Wyatt Williams, securing the win and 2015 8-man championship trophy for Melrose as they give the final kneel, and the celebration begins for your 2015 8-man champs, the Melrose Buffaloes.
This game was a doozy. Both teams had a great season and left it all on the football field. Congrats to both teams. Now let's take a look at the 6A playoff bracket. After defeating Manzano, the 1-seeded Cleveland Storm will head to the Field of Dreams in Las Cruces to face off the 5th-seeded Mayfield Trojans, who defeated the Clovis Wildcats last Friday night. This game will be Saturday, November 28th at 1 p.m. The 6th-seeded Las Cruces Bulldogs will also host their semifinal matchup against the 2nd-seeded El Dorado Eagles. Both teams beat their quarterfinal opponents pretty easily, so this game should be a good one. This game will be Friday at 1 p.m. at the Field of Dreams.
Taking a look at the 5A playoff bracket now, the 1-seed Centennial Hawks punched their ticket into the semifinals after beating the Goddard Rockets 53-18, and now will face the 4th-seeded Moriarty Fighting Pintos, who barely escaped the quarterfinals, beating Farmington 27-26. This game will be held at the Field of Dreams in Las Cruces, kickoff at 7 p.m. on Friday. The 3rd-seed Piedra Vista Panthers defeated Roswell High by a score of 27-16, and now will face the 2nd-seeded Artesia Bulldogs, who beat the St. Pius Sartans 27-21. This game will be in Artesia on Saturday at 1 p.m.
Moving on to Class 4A, the undefeated 1-seeded Portales Rams will travel to Las Vegas for their game against the 4th-seeded Robertson Cardinals. Both teams won their quarterfinal matchups pretty easily, as the Rams beat the 8th-seeded St. Michael's Horsemen 41-7, and the Cardinals beat the 5th-seeded Bloomfield Bobcats 49-6. This game will be on Saturday in Las Vegas with a kickoff at 2 p.m. The other undefeated team in 4A, the 2nd-seeded Hatch Valley Bears, will host the semifinal game against the 3rd-seeded Cobra Indians on Friday night. Both teams also won by a big margin in the quarterfinals, with Cobra beating the 6th-seeded Ruidoso Warriors 35-7, and Hatch defeating the 7th-seeded Hope Christian Huskies 43-14.
Moving on to 3A now, the 1-seeded undefeated Estancia Bears head to Lordsburg to face the 5th-seeded Lordsburg Mavericks on Saturday. Estancia crushed the 8th-seeded Texaco Wolverines 54-0, while the Mavericks beat the 4th-seeded Dexter Demons 20-12. This semifinal game will be at 1 p.m. in Lordsburg. Now, the 3rd-seeded Eunice Cardinals have their semifinal matchup against the 2nd-seeded Clayton Yellow Jackets, also on Saturday at 1 p.m. in Eunice, who beat the 6th-seeded Capitan Tigers by a score of 42-18, and Clayton won big against the 7th-seeded Santa Rosa Lions, 32-7.
Your SportsLook film crew will be in Artesia on Saturday for the matchup between the Artesia Bulldogs and the Pedra Vista Panthers, a battle between the 2nd and 3rd seeds. Saturday should be a good day for some football. Thanks for tuning in to another High School Spotlight.
But before we end this segment, please be sure to like our Facebook page, give us a follow on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube for more photos, updates, and highlights.
I'm Jacob Aranda.
And I'm Cristian Pacheco. So long.